It'll be good to hear what Freshta has to say.
Thank you, Gary. Hi everyone. Good evening. Philip, also thank you very much for mentioning us. Yes, light aviation. And thanks for the kind introduction, Gary. I really appreciate it, and it's really a pleasure participating today. And yeah, I thought I'd just speak about a different kind of topic. I think it's just, I guess I got inspired when I read some of the headlines that someone forwarded to me, an article the other day. I thought maybe we should just talk about that elephant in the room, certification. So, first of all, I'm CEO and founder of Light Aviation. And Light Aviation, we're working on building the first 40-seater hybrid hydrogen eVTOL. We're based in the UK, but my team currently we're in Germany. So yeah, so let me just maybe start giving you the perspective, our perspective on certification. So the way I see it is, give me one second, sorry. So, okay. So yeah, it's the elephant in the room. It's certification. Yes, it's real, it's hard, it's heavy. And lately, as I mentioned before, the headlines are raising the flags about whether eVTOLs will ever get certified. So that is a big question. Understandable. And I personally, as CEO and founder of an OEM manufacturing company, yes, I welcome these questions. I welcome these concerns because we need these questions. We need to face these challenges head on, but also we need to zoom out, way out sometimes, and look at it from a different perspective. And like you mentioned, Gary, as well, like one of my inspirations back then when we were researching was also the ferry Rotodyne in the UK in the 1960s. So if we were already like mapping out the routes back then, why can we not do it 70 years later with so much more advanced technology? So that was my base thought. So this is oh, sorry, one second. The challenges. So it's true. So what are the eVTOL certification challenges? So mainly, as Philip also like mentioned it, like so it's also the resources from the regulators the side, but also technically um, th- yes, they're reflecting some doubts, some worries, even the disillusionment around the certification of eVTOLs, especially the air taxis, the two-seater air taxis. The concerns are valid: too many rotors, too much novelty, battery inefficiency, transition modes, and of course, regulators playing catch up. But I invite us all to take a deep breath here because, and then look at this from a higher altitude. Um, because when the first, so when we look at the history of disruption, aviation 1.0 versus 2.0 now with the air taxis, when the first airplanes flew, regulations didn't even exist. So governments scrambled to invent them. Engineers broke every rule in the book because the book hadn't been written yet. But that didn't stop anyone. That didn't stop anyone, and it won't stop us either. Everyone that's working right now on the drones and the eVTOLs, that won't stop us. So it is a matter to definitely consider the certifications, but it will not stop us. And so the challenge here, for example, for me was as well, I mean, it was not a challenge, but it was interesting to see. The first reaction before I actually announced my project, the first 40-seater eVTOL, I actually mentioned it to a lady that's very well established in the aviation industry. And the first thing she said, Freshta, but you know, you're tapping into one of the most highly regulated industries on the planet. And I said, I know, and I'm not, but I know it's doable. And if I was afraid of certification, I wouldn't be here, which means light aviation has been rising since 2020. So we received 23 pre-orders for our aircraft worth 920 million already. We have 5 more pre-orders in the pipeline, working currently on 19 different projects on 4 continents, and we're tapping into a $474 billion market. So and why we will certify, hopefully, yes, with the optimistic perspective that we have, because we try to design it from day one accordingly, considering the certification. So even 5 years ago, we knew certification would be the wall every visionary would hit, because we studied, we took the weaknesses and the strengths of every eVTOL that was out there in the market, to understand how can we actually make sure that we get certified. So we asked ourselves, how do we fly with it, not into it? And everything that was designed basically around these two basic questions. Can we take off with 40 passengers or 4.5 ton cargo vertically and cruise? The answer is yes. And can we get it certified? Yes, eventually. That is the hope. So because we have chosen intentionally design particles, basically like the four large turboprops that are proven, they're certified, where we have chosen four electric engines, we have chosen hydrogen fuel cells, but also the tilt wing architecture that's already proven in military. So, and then the importance of the two-seater air taxis. They have been now around the last, let's say, the last decade. They were a personal inspiration for me as well, for my journey. Um, and if I see a Joby or an Archer taking off, I'm thrilled. I'm really absolutely excited because they're paving the way. We are the next scale up with a 40-seater. But when I see them actually operating or doing their test flights, so they're already 10 years or 5 years ahead of us in testing. They're helping regulators as well learn what works and what doesn't. So EASA, for example, has already defined some of the regulatory path for hybrid electric VTOL aircraft with passenger seating via its SC VTOL framework. So this is just one simple example that regulation is moving forward. So it's not stagnating, it is happening. There is a lot of work that's being done by the regulators, whether it's in Europe or in the US with the FAA, or even others in the UK as well, and the GCAA. Everyone's working on it because they know it is inevitable. It's happening. So what I like to what I like to compare it with is I think sometimes visionaries is hard to understand maybe the vision, but once we actually look back and see how visionaries have actually established their successes, is one of them was the BlackBerry moment, for example. When the BlackBerry launched, mobile networks said we can only handle 500,000 users, and that's it, no more. So it was limited. Everyone thought that was the limit. But the engineers kept going. They expanded the networks, and then came the iPhone. Suddenly, mobile internet was limitless. Why? Because one crazy team believed the limit was just a starting point. And that's where we're now. BlackBerry was first, the iPhone moment is coming now for our eVTOLs. Just like with eVTOLs, the challenge isn't whether they fly, but whether systems and the entire infrastructure can as well grow with them. And yes, also for us, we have our challenges, big ones. We have a 40-seater, which has a length of almost 20 meters and 19-meter wingspan. So we have our own challenges, and especially we have a larger range of up to 1,000 kilometers. So we're not flying rooftop to rooftop like the air taxis are planning. I mean, we're planning back then, but we're flying city to city, region to region. So we have completely different challenges here. And so yes, the use cases, they're challenging, but they're lucrative. The benefits, they're challenging, but they're lucrative. And the partnerships, they're challenging but lucrative. But our infrastructures, the partners that we have in general, the suppliers and our infrastructure partners, they believe in us. Our investors, they believe in us. Our customers, the airlines, they believe in us. The aviation industry, they believe in us. They're seeing what is happening. So I think it's just a dance now. So the last decade, I think we're all dancing to the same rhythm and the same, and we're looking all into this to the same direction. And so yeah, the bigger picture here is eVTOLs are currently at this state, 2025, still somewhere partially for visionaries. So eVTOLs are not for everyone yet, because there are those who see 10, 15, 30 years ahead. But if you only see today, that's okay. but then it may be hard to understand what we're building for the future, because we're not just building an aircraft, we're building a future movement system here. So for us, it's not if, it's not even when, it's just how fast and how smooth can we align with the entire ecosystem. And so the way we see certification is not a wall, it's a mirror. Certification is not our enemy, it's our greatest ally. We need certifications in order to make sure that we have safe aircraft. It reflects, but also it reflects how serious we are. We've already started early talks with regulators. We're not waiting for permission. We're inviting them to the table now because we want to build this industry together with the regulators, but also with our partners and suppliers. So yeah, and then again, from our perspective, from vision to reality, I know for some it's difficult maybe sometimes to see that the power that's behind it, but we're not naive, we're not reckless, we're not idealists, but we're realists with vision, and we're engineers with imagination, and we're founders with fuel, and we will fly. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Because this time, the sky isn't the limit. So we're living in great times, whereas the sky is just really the beginning. And so, yes, we do believe that believers create the future. So when again, like when I see the two-seater air taxis advancing, but also with their certifications that were also mentioned before, this is proof for us that something is moving at least forward. So when we will all get certified, it's probably not clear, yes, but we have a rough estimate to know where this journey is going and when we roughly will get into operations. So so when yeah, basically when I see the two or four-seater air taxis, for me personally, they're the proof that the path is opening. And so, yeah, and that's why I had to speak about certification today, because I think when I again when I read those headlines, is it even certifiable? Is it even happening? I think it was for me personally then important to maybe just round up the image here, to also look at it from our perspective, that that's because the conversation is not just about airframes and engines, it's about really about mindsets as well. In aviation, we have all kinds of perspectives that are essential to our overall success. So we need the visionaries, we need the regulators, we need the technicians, the pilots, the investors, the infrastructure builders, the suppliers. We need every single one of them. But never forget, without the visionaries, we wouldn't have smartphones, we wouldn't have cars, and we sure as hell wouldn't have airplanes. Yes, pilots are in shortage, certifications are difficult. Yes, infrastructure is missing for air taxis, but we're all building ahead of time. We're going step by step into the same direction, and we're working on it. So because we know we will need an entire ecosystem moving towards that. And so yes, certification, one way or another, it will happen. That's it for me. Thank you so much for listening. And yeah, this is me basically. If you want to get in touch with me, thank you so much.
Thank you, Freshta. It was really good listening to you. And I think, people sort of forget, and, I always go back to history. If you look at the 1946, when the first two helicopters were type certified, one was a two-seater Bell 47. The other one was what I think it was four/5-seater, the S-51 Sikorsky. And you look how fast they moved to the point where the Chinook came out in the early 1960s, when suddenly you had aircraft close to the size of what you're envisaging suddenly there. Or, for example, from the de Havilland Comet to the Boeing 747 and C5 Galaxy, in the 60s. And that was literally, 2 decades and was there. So I think,
Exactly.
people forget, these things are possible. Yes, we have challenges. We have challenges in terms of hydrogen tank weight. We have challenges in terms of battery densities. But, these things will be solved, and hopefully maybe we'll even get fusion reactors that we can plug into an aircraft one day. They seem to suddenly be making a lot more progress with fusion than they did in the past. So hopefully we'll see some really interesting things coming our way.
Yeah, that's my hope as well.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much, Gary. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Henry, how